In this second of 2 episodes, our friends from Mental Health Estrie give us some more tips on how to deal with the lack of motivation, the sluggishness, and the discouragement, which are just some of the feelings we experience when we're languishing. Hello again and welcome to About Townshippers. This is a web series where we talk a lot. We talk about the organizations, the services, and the topics that are important to English speakers living in Quebec's beautiful eastern townships. Jennifer Bauer, Emily McBurney, and Olivia Romano from Mental Health Estrie are with us for part 2 of our discussion on languishing. Now, this is a state of being. It's a general feeling that many of us have experienced since the beginning of the pandemic. Now, if you or someone you know has been kind of feeling, the blaas and really feeling the weight of the pandemic or any other situation, you'll really appreciate the suggestions and the information that our guests share with us in this episode. Here we go.
Absolutely, for sure. Okay. And any of these coping strategies are applicable anytime during our lives, pandemic or no pandemic, absolutely.
We can also focus on small goals. And, as we're coming out of this really high alert, uncertain situation, we kind of have to be kind with ourselves and not put too much pressure on ourselves. And so a small goal can be as easy as cooking a meal, getting out of bed in the morning, or going outside for a walk. And that kind of gives us a sense of accomplishment. And over time, as we work on adding more small goals, we feel more confident about tackling larger goals in life.
Once again, something else that we can do 12 months a year and with or without the pandemic. Oh, okay.
Definitely.
Something else we can do is to try to reconnect with our community, because one of the things that's happened in the last year and a half is that a lot of us have become very isolated. So, but that doesn't mean that community organizations aren't still functioning. So they're still looking for volunteers. So there's lots of volunteer opportunities if you're able to do that safely. Something that my family has done is to have a Zoom game night sometimes, because we're in different provinces. So this allows us to connect virtually without having to drive for 5 or 6 hours. But you could, join a book club or any kind of things like this that helps you just to really feel that you're part of something bigger again,
And with the confinement, I guess we can maybe do a hybrid of that. Some of it can be online, some of it can be, in person, at least for this period now.
One of the other ways is, and can be done anytime, is just practicing gratitude. As human beings, we're wired to focus on the negative and the bad stuff. It helps us survive, the fight, freeze, and fight, flight, and freeze mode. But we have to work a lot harder to focus on the positive and look for the positive. And gratitude really helps us get there. It forces us to look at what went well during my day. What am I happy about? What am I grateful about? So even just creating a gratitude jar or journaling in a gratitude book once a day can really help turn things around and switch your momentum into a more positive frame of mind. And Olivia hinted on kindness as well. I think our world can always use a little bit more kindness, not only towards others, but towards ourselves as well. And so to just really have those practices in our lives really brings in that positivity and switches again our frame of reference to a more positive and constructive way of approaching our days and our weeks.
I think a lot of people could use that suggestion, because I've been noticing in the last year and a half, people are a bit more frustrated. People are less patient in traffic. People are getting frustrated in stores. And I remember in the beginning of the pandemic, just in the beginning, and after 3 or 4 months, a clerk in a store, I said, "Well, thank you very much," and her face just lit up, and she said, "You know what? I haven't heard thank you for quite a while. That's so nice of you." I was just stunned, So the kindness and the gratitude, they could play, huge roles.
We could also try something new. This is something that just brings a little spark to our day. So, this doesn't have to be something big. You can try a new recipe. You could try a new craft. You could try reading a new book. There's all kinds of things going on. I mean, tie-dye is all the rage right now. Maybe, you know, buy one of those tie-dye kits and go in your backyard and make some new clothes for yourself. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything complicated, but just the act of trying something for the first time, whether it works or doesn't work, it just really sparks something in us, and that can be really helpful as well.
Well, I'm speechless. So now I'm learning about languishing, and now I've just learned that tie-dye is back in style. Really?
Yes, absolutely.
Really? And the bell-bottom jeans are just around the corner. And
well, you can tie-dye whatever you want, whether they're your bell-bottom jeans or not. Yeah, there's lots of stuff like that on Amazon, at Michael's, and there's videos on YouTube. You can learn just about anything on YouTube these days if you're so inclined.
Now, how is Mental Health Estrie been facing this or tackling this challenge?
Well, basically, we've just been trying to have the conversation, you know, just getting it out there. We put an article about it in the Record. We made some posts on Facebook. Obviously, we're doing this interview now, just getting the conversation going, and allowing people to realize that they're not alone in these feelings that they've been having of, you know, being just like stuck in a routine, working on automatic. Like, we, just because the way that our lives have been lately has been, you know, difficult and different, doesn't mean there aren't coping strategies and techniques that we can adapt to recognize what's going on and to try to ameliorate our situation.
Now, have you guys been sharing this information? You said on Facebook, and are you're still providing services online and in person, or how is it working right now?
Yeah, so right now we're still mostly working remotely. So our services are mostly remote, so our support groups are remote, information and referral line is remote. So we'll have to see how the fall unfolds and see maybe if we return a little bit in person, but yes, mostly still remote. The social post we had done on Languishing, if I'm not mistaken, was end of May, beginning of June. So if anyone wants to go back and look at those posts, Emily had actually created a one-pager on Languishing, which is fantastic. And you can just download it, have it on your fridge. It's a good reminder. There's all the coping strategies. So yeah.
There's also the aspect of developing our emotional literacy, and that can be done through not only naming and describing how we're feeling, but writing it down. So journaling can be a really great way of kind of getting those thoughts out on paper and kind of reflecting back to us, you know, just how exactly we're doing in the moment. And then we can head into the next step of what can we do about it. And along with that, we can also have an open conversation about our emotional state with people that we trust. So our family or friends, it could be a psychologist, it could be a family doctor. That's also a great way.
Where would you guys suggest people really look for specifically for more information?
So one thing that we know is we want always to make sure that where we look for information, it's always reliable information and up-to-date information. So usually we recommend, you know, the Government of Canada and Quebec websites are actually fantastic. They have tons of information, and the Government of Canada actually has information on Languishing. They have a beautiful page with lots of suggestions and other options that you can click on. So definitely one to look for. And then we also have the Canadian Mental Health Association. This is an association which is here for the entire of Canada. They have tons of articles on a lot of different topics. And this past year in May, the Mental Health Awareness Week was actually about our emotions and how we navigate our emotions, naming our emotions. So they have an entire page and articles on processing our emotions. And so I would really recommend to look into this one. And then if you're looking for more in terms of how do I get help if I'm feeling this way, Mental Health Estrie is obviously here for you. Sometimes we don't quite know what our next step is. Give us a call. We'll figure it out together, and then we'll refer you to who the next person might be or organization that could help you along the way. There's always, you know, speaking about it and putting it out there is very important, not keeping it all inside. So if you have someone that you trust, a family member, a friend, could also be a professional, a doctor, a psychologist, just to really be able to process this and not be alone in the process. And with that being said, you know, we're looking for opportunities to talk. There's talk and helplines that are available. There's tons across Canada. I think one of the ones I want to highlight is obviously 811. You have Info Santé, which is option one, but option two is actually psychosocial services. So you can connect to a psychosocial intervener, and they can really help you process what you're going through, look at coping strategies, and also make referrals as needed. They're there 24/7, bilingual services. So it's really to reach out when you're feeling this way and to not hesitate to talk about it. We're really not alone in this.
Okay, well, lots of coping suggestions and information resources you guys have offered us today. So, look, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to pop into About Townshippers and talk about this new, I guess, well, it's not necessarily a new phenomenon, but it's kind of come to light a lot more. It's languishing. Well, Jennifer Bauer, you're the intervener and administrative assistant. Emily and McBurney, your outreach coordinator, and Olivia Romano, you're the office assistant at Mental Health Estrie. You guys have been very kind and very generous. And we're going to put all the information, as we usually do, at the end of the video, all the stuff that we've mentioned and all the contact information, so people can reach out to you or to those other resources wherever they think it's appropriate for them. So,
thank you so much, Ed.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
have a great day, guys. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
And there you have it. You've been watching part 2 of our discussion on languishing with our guests, Jennifer Bauer, Emily McBurney, and Olivia Romano from Mental Health Estrie. If you'd like to have some more information about languishing, well, check out part 1 of our discussion, which is actually episode 49 of the web series, that you can find on Townshippers Association's YouTube channel. And you can also take a look right down here in the video description to find links to pertinent articles and studies, as well as contact information for community, provincial, and national organizations that can help you, or perhaps someone you know, deal with the effects of languishing. And of course, we've also put there in the video description all the contact information for Mental Health Estrie. Now, if you found this video useful, please share and like, because it really helps us spread the important news throughout our English-speaking communities right here in Quebec's Eastern Townships. And of course, you can subscribe as well to Townshippers Association's YouTube channel. And that is, of course, where you can find all the other 50 or so episodes of this web series. Thanks for being with us today. My name is Ed Humphrey. This is About Townshippers, and we'll see you next time.